My parents branded me familyless mom's birthday, so I exposed my sister's lies, cut all money, let truth destroy her life. "It will be better when you leave," my dad said in all seriousness, after I drove 8 hours to my mother's to wish her a happy birthday. Then my mother shouted from the kitchen, "What do you not understand? I want to see only real family members today, not you." I smiled. After 30 minutes everything quickly changed and they begged me to listen to them, but I had no music on, just the sound of the road and the occasional hum of my old Civic reminding me that it was not made for long drives anymore. 8 hours in the car gives you plenty of time to think. The whole way down, I was running through all the things I would say when I walked through the door. It was my mother's birthday after all. I imagined how surprised she would be, how proud they would feel seeing me show up like that. I did not even tell them I was coming. I thought it would mean something. I was driving to Charleston, South Carolina. That is where they moved a few years ago after Dad retired early. Quiet neighborhood, big backyard. Emily always said it was the perfect family house, like she had something to prove. I had not been there in over 1 year, not since everything started getting weird between us. It had been a rough year with my parents. Ever since my sister Emily moved back in with them, things shifted. I could feel it in every call, every text they forgot to answer. I would ask Dad something and get one-word replies. I would ask Mom for a recipe and she would say she was busy. Meanwhile, Emily was constantly on their Facebook pages, posting photos of them with captions like, "Grateful to have real family around." I did not think too much of it at first, but something was off. I parked 1 block away from the house because I did not want them to hear me pull up. I was nervous, excited, hopeful, and already a little tired from the trip. When I rang the bell, I heard footsteps and muffled voices. Then the door opened, and there was Dad. He looked like he did not expect me at all, which made sense since I had not told him, but he also did not look happy. He looked me over and just said, "It will be better when you leave." I thought he was joking. I even laughed and said, "What?" Then from inside, Mom's voice echoed out from the kitchen loud and clear, "Do not you understand? I want to see only real family members today, not you." I stood there with a stupid smile frozen on my face. Not because I was okay, but because I genuinely could not believe they were serious. Before I could say anything, Dad stepped outside and shut the door behind him. He told me Emily had told them everything, that I had stolen money from her and tried to turn them against her, and that I was toxic and needed help. I could not even process what I was hearing. I had not seen Emily in over 1 year. I had not touched her money. I did not even know what he was talking about. I did not argue. I just said, "If I am not your family, then my money does not exist to you either. Good luck figuring out how to cover next semester for Emily." Then I turned and walked back to my car. I was halfway down the street when I saw Dad in the rearview mirror waving his arms. Then, Mom appeared. They were chasing the car. I pulled over, not because I was giving in, but because I was curious how fast they would switch up. I rolled the window down just a crack. They begged me to come back. They said I misunderstood. They said there was more to talk about. They said they had made a mistake. And right in the middle of it all, while Dad was stammering about how it is complicated, Mom blurted something out about Emily that stopped everything. It did not make sense right away, but it was enough to make me stay and listen. I did not say anything for a while. Dad kept talking, throwing out all these half apologies, but my focus was locked on Mom. She looked like she regretted saying something, but not in a guilty way. More like she slipped up and now had to cover it. That look made me stay. I told them I would come inside, but I was not there to make peace. I was done with pretending. I just wanted to hear exactly what they thought I had done straight from their mouths. Maybe I was hoping for something that made sense, but I already had this sinking feeling they would say anything to protect Emily. The kitchen looked the same, but the energy was different, cold, like I was not standing in the house I grew up in, just some stranger passing through. The last time I'd been there, I left a birthday card on the counter for Mom with a $100 bill inside. She never mentioned it. Dad sat down heavily like he was bracing himself for something painful, but it was all just performance. He started talking about Emily. He said she had been going through a lot, that she lost her job last fall, got dumped and moved back in because she had nowhere else to go. I asked what that had to do with me. That is when Mom said they were just trying to support her and that they might have misunderstood a few things. I asked what kind of things. Dad started fumbling his words. He said Emily told them I had tried to turn the family against her last year, that I had spread rumors, manipulated conversations, even stolen money from her account. I could not believe what I was hearing. They were sitting there actually repeating this garbage back to me like it had any weight. I asked them if they saw proof. They did not answer. Mom said, "Emily has been through a lot. Why would she lie? Why would she lie? I laughed and asked them if they remembered that $10,000 I wired for house repairs. They both nodded slowly. I asked what those repairs were again. Silence. Then Dad finally said, "She needed help with a car, Oliver. You know how hard things were for her." I leaned back. So the money I gave them had gone to Emily. And not one word of thanks. Not even a call. Then it got weird. Mom mentioned something under her breath about Emily losing that job because of, you know what happened. I asked her what that meant. She said nothing. Then she said it was just something Emily mentioned. Then she said maybe it was not about me directly. Each answer just made it worse. I asked if they seriously believed I got her fired. They looked away. That was enough of an answer. I was about to walk out when I heard the front door open. Footsteps. Emily walked in with this guy behind her, maybe in his late 20s, messy hair, kind of smug looking. He had tattoos on his hands and a cigarette behind his ear. He stopped when he saw me, looked me up and down and said, "Wait, this is the brother? The one you said got arrested?" I turned to Emily. "Arrested? I have never even had a speeding ticket." She froze for 1 second, just 1 second. That was all I needed to see. Her boyfriend looked back and forth between us, then back at her. Something shifted in his face, like he had walked into something way bigger than what he signed up for. I did not say a word. I did not have to. The look on Emily's face was loud enough. It was like time cracked open right there in the doorway. Emily froze. Her boyfriend stepped back, and everyone just stood there in the thick, choking silence. I looked directly at him. "She told you I got arrested?" He nodded slowly like he was just realizing how off that sounded. He looked at her and said, "You said he was violent, that he got arrested for assaulting someone outside a bar." Emily did not answer right away. She tried to smile, but it was the kind people do when they are cornered and still trying to fake control. "I was exaggerating," she mumbled. I said, "Funny, because I have never even had a parking ticket and I do not drink." His eyes narrowed. "You said he almost hit you once, that your parents were scared of him." That one made me laugh. I looked at Mom and Dad. "Did you two hear that one too? That I almost hit her?" They did not respond. Not yes, not no, just blank. Like they were watching a magician reveal every trick and still hoping for a rabbit to appear. Emily's boyfriend did not wait. He looked at her, shook his head, then turned and walked out the front door without saying another word. She chased after him, trying to explain, but I already knew how that would go. You can only keep someone in a fake story until the plot falls apart, and it had just fallen apart in front of everyone. I turned back to Mom and Dad. Neither of them could look at me. "I gave you $10,000, I said, pulling out my phone and opening the app. I showed them the transaction. "You told me it was for the roof, that you had a leak, that the insurance was not covering it. That is what you said." Mom whispered something, but I did not hear it. I did not even care to. "That money bought Emily a used BMW, I said. She bragged about it on Instagram 1 week later. I saw the post. You were both in it, smiling next to her with a caption that said, 'Grateful for the people who have always believed in me.' I was the one who paid for that picture, and you did not even tag me." They sat down at the table like someone had knocked the air out of them. "You said I was not real family today," I said slowly. "So let us go with that. No more calls, no more money, no more rides when things break, no more favors. If I do not exist to you, then I will not exist to you." Dad tried to speak. I held up a hand. "But I am not done." I walked over to the drawer near the fridge. Still the same drawer where we used to keep flash drives, batteries, bills no one paid on time. I found it right where I thought it would be, an old backup hard drive. Emily's. She used to plug it in whenever her laptop was full. She used to brag about how she never deleted anything, how she backed up her entire life. I held it up. "Do you remember when she said I broke into her room and stole her laptop?" I asked them. I did not. "But you never asked me if it was true. You just believed it." I slipped the drive into my pocket. "Let us see how much truth she kept on here." That was the exact moment things turned. I was not going to yell. I was not going to cry. I was going to let her destroy herself with her own words, her own saved files, her own careless messages. And this time, they were going to watch it happen. I did not go home. I drove to a Starbucks 10 minutes away, parked in the far corner of the lot, and pulled out my laptop. I had not touched the hard drive in years, but I knew Emily. She did not believe in deleting anything. She treated her files like receipts just in case someone ever questioned her version of a story. I plugged it in and waited. At first, it was the usual junk, old essays, playlists, selfies, resume drafts. Then I found the folders, not one but 5, all named after people. 3 were ex-boyfriends. 1 was a former roommate, and the last one was labeled Fam. I opened that one first. Inside were screenshots, dozens of them, lyrics of mine, but heavily edited, like actual Photoshop edits. She had taken messages I had sent and changed the words to make it look like I was threatening her, calling her names, saying I wanted to ruin her life. The timestamps did not even make sense. Some of the messages were from dates when I was not even in the country. Then I found voice memos, all spliced together from old voicemails and audio clips to make it sound like I was yelling at her. But if you listened closely, it was choppy and unnatural. In one clip, my voice said, "You are nothing." Then it immediately cut to, "I have always hated you." But the tone was completely different between the two, like they were taken from different conversations years apart. She created false evidence. I sat back in my seat. I was not angry. I was impressed. The lengths she had gone to just to build her story were insane. And for what? Compassion, attention, control. Then I opened the folder labeled with her most recent ex, and that is when it got dark. Screenshots of his private messages, bank statements, a document in which she had written out a breakup plan, including steps to ruin his reputation if he ever left her. She even had a folder of photos of him at parties with notes like, "Use this if he tries to lie about drinking." This was not just about me. She did this to people. It was a pattern. I closed my laptop and just stared at the parking lot for a while. The sun was starting to set, and the shadows stretched long and thin. I felt something settle in my chest. Not anger, not vengeance, just clarity. If she wanted to play this game, fine. I would play it better. First, I emailed some of the files to myself just in case. Then, I sent a message to a guy I had not talked to in years, Jake. He was Emily's ex, the one she claimed had cheated on her and emotionally destroyed her. We had never been close, but I remembered how quickly he had disappeared after they broke up. Now I knew why. I sent him 3 files. He called me within 20 minutes. He said he did not know whether to thank me or throw up. He said he still had a draft of a restraining order that his lawyer had written, just never filed. He said if this got out, Emily would not just lose her precious trust with our parents, she would lose a lot more. That's when the plan came together. It was not going to be loud. It was not going to be explosive. It would be quiet, precise, and irreversible. And it was going to start at my mother's birthday dinner because Emily had no idea that Jake had just booked a flight, and he was not coming to talk. Mother's birthday dinner was supposed to be this quiet family thing. Just a small group at home, some decorations, takeout from her favorite seafood place, and cake in the backyard. That was the plan, at least until I got involved. I called Dad and told him I would be back for dinner. I said I did not want to ruin Mom's day. He hesitated but agreed. I could hear the shame in his voice, the kind that comes when someone knows they are about to eat their words and have no idea how bitter they will taste. What I did not tell them was that I had invited a few guests. Emily was already at the house when I arrived. She did not say anything. She just gave me this tight, passive smile like we were 2 CO workers forced to share a table at a wedding. I smiled back. I had not slept much, but I did not need sleep. I had momentum. We sat down to eat around 6 o'clock. I gave it 20 minutes. Let things feel normal. Everyone pretended. Then the doorbell rang. Jake walked in like he had been invited 100 times before. No drama, just calm, collected, and carrying a small black folder under one arm. Emily's fork clattered against her plate. She whispered his name, then said louder, "Why are you here?" Jake ignored her. He looked directly at my parents and said, "Mr. and Mrs. Harris, thank you for having me. I know this is a little unexpected, but I thought it was time to clear some things up." Dad looked at me. I just nodded. Jake put the folder on the table and opened it. Inside were printout screenshots, the fake messages she made about me, the notes she had written about him, a transcript of one of the audio files I had cleaned up and enhanced. And then he spoke calmly, clearly, brutally. He told them how Emily had manipulated him, how she made up threats to keep him from leaving, how she used things he told her in confidence to ruin his job when he broke it off, how she cried to my parents about being emotionally destroyed while planning to leak false stories to his boss. He laid it all out calmly, no shouting, just facts. Emily tried to interrupt. She said it was all out of context. She said that Jake was lying. She said that I was jealous and that we had ganged up on her. She said it with that desperation, trying to get sympathy the way she always did, but this time it did not work. Mom shook her head before Emily had even finished. Dad looked like he had aged 10 years. Then I spoke. telling them about the hard drive, the audio splicing, the doctored screenshots, the fake arrest story. I showed them the email I sent myself, the timestamp, the original files, her folder named Fam. Emily's face fell. She stood up and started screaming about how hard her life had been, how no one understood the pressure she was under, how she just wanted attention because no one ever cared about her. It was wild watching someone try to explain away years of manipulation as if it were just a small mistake, like maybe if she said the right combination of words, she could turn back time. Mom told her to sit down. Dad told her to shut up. She did not. She kept talking. She said we had all turned against her, that Jake had abandoned her, and that I was always the golden child, and that our parents only loved her when she played perfect. That is when Mom got up and told her to leave. Emily did not move. She said she had nowhere else to go. Jake said, "Figure it out like the rest of us had to." She looked at him one last time, and something snapped. The show was over. She grabbed her bag and stormed out, slamming the door so hard that one of the picture frames fell off the wall. Nobody picked it up. We sat there for a long time. Nobody said much. The food was cold, the cake was never cut, but something about the silence felt better than all the fake conversations we have been having for years, and that was just the beginning. 2 weeks passed. I did not hear from Emily, and I did not ask. Mom and Dad did not mention her either. There was this unspoken agreement between us that whatever happened at that dinner was final, that everything before that belonged to a different timeline that we were not going back to. Then a letter came. No return address. My name was in that oddly familiar handwriting, rounded and neat, like it was trying to sound innocent before I even opened the envelope. It was from Emily. A handwritten apology, though calling it an apology feels generous. She said she was leaving town for a while, said she needed space to think. She claimed to understand our reaction, but was hurt that we all turned on her so quickly. She ended the first page by saying, "I just wish someone had asked me how I was really doing. It was like watching someone dig their own grave with a spoon." But the second page was different. On the back it listed 8 names. Some were familiar: Jake, Maddie, the guy from her college internship she accused of stalking her. Some I did not recognize. At the bottom she wrote, "These are the people I have wronged. Maybe now you will believe me when I say I do not know how to stop." No drama, no excuses, just a confession written in the kind of cold, dry language that makes it worse. I took a picture of the list and sent it to Jake. He did not even ask, he just responded with, "Are you okay with me posting this?" I said, "Yes." The next morning, it was all over. He blurred the names, but people started to figure it out. Threads connected the dots. One of the names turned out to be a girl who had quietly dropped out of her university after Emily claimed she plagiarized an entire research paper. Another guy had been fired from his internship over a harassment report that suddenly did not make sense. And the name at the bottom of the list, that one hit like a grenade mark. I had not thought about him in years. Our old neighbor, a few years older than me, a quiet kid who helped Dad with the yard work sometimes. He walked our dog when we went on vacation. Then one summer he just disappeared. Emily had told Mom and Dad that he was spying on her through the bathroom window. They believed her without question. Mom cried. Dad called his parents. Things got ugly. No one ever saw him again after that. I did not even know he had a life after that. But Dad found him. He was living in Atlanta, working at a small auto shop, still using a flip phone. He looked thinner, tired. Dad went to see him in person. When he came back, Dad did not say much. He just said, "We ruined that boy's life." After that, everything changed. They updated their wills, cutting Emily out of everything. I did not ask them to do that. It was their decision. They sold their car that same week and donated the money anonymously to a local support center, the same one that helped Maddie after Emily lied about her and left her with back rent and a broken lease. Jake sent me a voicemail later that day, just 4 words: "She is not coming back." But she tried one last time. She emailed me from a new address. She said she was in Nevada. She said she was starting over. She bet she had found someone new who really saw her. She bet she hoped I could understand the pressure she was under. She asked if we could ever talk again, even just once. She said that no matter what happened, we were still family. I did not respond, but I did send an email that week. Not to her, but to everyone she had hurt, the names on her list. I wrote a single message attaching every file, every screenshot, every audio recording. I told them if they ever needed anyone to vouch for what really happened, they could call me. One of them, the girl who got kicked out of college, wrote back one day later. She said, "Thank you. I thought I was crazy. Emily does not exist in my world anymore, not even as a ghost. Mom and Dad do not mention her name. Jake is seeing someone new. Maddie is back in school. Mark works full-time and moved to a better neighborhood. And me? I sleep through the night because justice did not come in a storm. It came in whispers, in receipts, in the silent, undeniable weight of truth. And in the end, that was more than enough. Update 1. I thought it was over. I really did. After everything came out, the files, the dinner, the fallout, I assumed Emily was gone for good. But people like her do not go away quietly. They wait, they watch, and then they try one last thing when they think you have let down your guard. About 1 month after I last heard from her, I got a call from a blocked number. I let it go to voicemail. Later I listened in. It was Emily. She did not say much, just that she messed up, that she was in a bad place. And then she said something strange. If things get worse, I am sorry for what I might have to do. I repeated that last line 3 times. The next day my bank flagged an unusual login attempt. Someone was trying to access my account from a device in Nevada. I used 2-factor authentication, so they did not get in. I changed all my passwords and locked everything down. 2 days later, my boss called me into his office. He said he had received an anonymous email with screenshots of concerning behavior, allegations that I had stolen money, harassed a family member, and been fired from a previous job. I'd never been fired. Fortunately, I had already told him the broad strokes of what had happened, so he did not take it seriously. But the screenshots, they were the same ones she had forged about me last year. She still had them. She was still trying to use them. I contacted a lawyer. We traced the email to a burner account created in Reno. It was the same day as the login attempt. The same day as the voicemail. I did not tell my parents, not at first. I thought if they knew she was still pulling this crap, it would just reopen everything. But the lawyer said something that stuck with me. She is not going to stop until somebody makes her. So I made a move she did not see coming. I filed a police report. I included the attempted identity theft, the forged emails, and a digital trail linking the burner account to her previous devices. I submitted the hard drive as evidence. Even if nothing came of it legally, it was now documented and real, permanently. But here is where it backfired for her. Apparently, Emily's new boyfriend, the one she claimed really saw her, was using her laptop. He saw the police report through her email. Then he found the hard drive backups she never deleted. He dumped her, sent a statement to my lawyer, said he wanted no part of any of her psychotic lies, said she told him I was abusive, said she claimed she fled the family, and that I was stalking her across state lines. She lost everything again, and I found out something else. The graduate student she falsely accused had already filed a defamation suit before all this. After my update went viral, she amended the case with all the new evidence. Emily was now facing civil charges, real ones. So, yes, she tried one last trick. She tried to destroy my name again. But this time, I was not alone. And this time, she failed publicly, legally, completely. After that, I will not post anymore. There is nothing left to say except this. If someone in your family lies so well that they start to believe it themselves, believe you first because the truth is waiting. And when it comes, it will be louder than all the lies put together.